Hi guys, welcome to Learn Electronics Repair. You can see I have a soldering iron here, a TS101 from Miniware Smart Soldering Iron. This is the successor to the TS100 from the same company, and I thought we'd take a look at this today. We'll check the soldering iron out first, see what tips it comes with. We can talk about tips as well. And then a little later today, Detlef is coming into the workshop and he has a Pinecil, which is also a very popular soldering iron of this type. So we can do a comparison as well and see if one performs better than the other, which one we prefer, and so on. It'll be very interesting seeing as Det actually uses the Pinecil a lot. He's very used to using that, so I'm very interested to see how he gets on with this one. Personally, I've used neither of them, so I have a very open mind, of course. We can see then we have a instruction manual. I imagine this is multi-language. No, not sure if that is English. Oh no, I tell a lie. This is multi-language. It's Chinese and English and Russian. Okay, interesting combination. You'll see the soldering iron doesn't come with a power supply. I have a 100 watt USB-C charger here, a PD supply, so I'm actually going to use this one. We have a conical type tip here. Okay, it's not the sort I normally use. We have the handle. You can see this has a locking screw here, so that locks the tip into place, but I say that actually holds in quite well without doing that, but I will tighten it. That's the way they suggest you use this. What do we have? We have two buttons. It's quite common for these type of soldering irons. And this one has both USB-C and a jack connector. So I could connect this to my bench power supply or to the PD power supply. I'll use the PD power supply for this demonstration because that's probably how you guys would be using it. Take off the little screen protector. Regarding these tips, this is the same type of tip that fits into the TS100 and also the Pinecil. This is compatible with both of them. So the only difference really is going to be in the handle, the electronics, the user interface and so on in here, because the heating element is part of this tip. So I would have imagined, but I'm only imagining, that the performance of the soldering iron is mostly down to the tip. Having said that, I guess it also depends on how much current this can send through that tip and how quickly to maintain the voltage, how fast this can react, if you like, to change in power requirements. Okay, so I've inserted this tip. I know that Detlef has a lot of his tips for his soldering iron, so we can play around with some of those as well with this, and that will give us a very good indication of the performance of the two soldering irons. This is quite comfortable to hold. Your finger naturally falls on this button. This one is kind of like you have to move back to it, so I don't see you accidentally pressing that. You may accidentally press this one, so we'll have a look to see what that does if we accidentally press it. Okay, button A, and that fits nicely. It has like a ridged effect here. I don't feel like I'm going to slide my fingers off the end onto the hot iron. Okay, but it'll be interesting to see how warm this gets, and in particular how warm that screw gets. That I'm interested in, because I think it's possible you could do that with it. Okay, this is a grounding terminal by the looks of it. I guess you would actually have to connect a ground to that if you wanted to, because the output from the USB power supply at least is going to be isolated. Okay, fair enough, your bench power supply may be grounded. Be interesting. Just before we start, let's have a look to see if we have a connection from there to the outer ring on here. This is going to be very easy to test, so we'll just go from the tip to here. Actually, that doesn't connect to that. Okay. This is working. It does connect to there. So this grounding point appears to be grounding the handle. Let's just tighten that screw. Okay, that's now tight. Yeah, so it doesn't ground the tip. In a way, that's a good thing, I think, because having the tip grounded actually can be a bad thing on occasions if you've accidentally left some power on a board when you're trying to solder. Wouldn't be the first time that somebody's done that, and it certainly wouldn't be the last time. But this, I guess, is like a safety ground that keeps the handle grounded. I'm just trying to think of a situation where that would be necessary, because there's no... Well, yeah, you can't touch that. Yeah, I mean, you could touch that. Maybe that's why, but not for me to disparage that. Obviously, the designer put this on for a good reason. Maybe I'm just not smart enough to figure out why. Okay. But I'm pretty sure I'm smart enough to figure out how to use this. Let's try it. I'm just doing the obvious thing really, and have a quick look at the manual. I've had a look through here, just points out something. So it mentions here after 5 minutes of continuous operation at full power above 350. I normally have my T12 set at 380, or 40 minutes of continuous use. The controller temperature will reach above 50. So this is going to get hot. But that says in continuous use. I mean, normally when soldering, it's a kind of an intermittent thing that you do, and you put it down, and then this will go to sleep mode and cool down. So it'll be interesting to see whether that is actually a problem. I mean, imagine on site and such like, you're just going to do some quick soldering jobs. Maybe on the bench you might use it a bit more than that. But thinking about it with the sleep mode, even on my T12, I don't use it for 40 minutes continuous, or even 5 minutes normally. We have a slip guard number 3, an anti-slip cap. That's this little thing. I should have really looked at this before. To use a slip guard, we remove the tip first, and we put this on the soldering iron. There it goes. So that clips on there. This effectively stops the soldering iron from rolling around, but you can see, we'll look at that. And with the slip guard on here, you can see if we push forwards on that, it helps to remove the tip. So that's quite handy. I rather like that feature. We'll tighten this back up again. How much having to tighten the screw when you change the tip, whether that becomes annoying or not, I think will depend on your usage. Normally I only really use one tip all the time. If you see it on my videos, I change it very rarely, and usually when that one's worn out and I fit one of the same type but a new one. Yeah, so that wouldn't bother me. But if you're one of these people who's continually changing the tip during working, maybe that's a different matter. A quick look about power source. So as we know, it takes two different power sources, the DC jack 9 to 24 volts and the USB-C 9 and above. The power supply I'm using is a 20 volt one, which is 100 watt. We can look at this here, so we can see that if we connect this to a bench power supply, for example, we get 65 watt at 2.8 amp, 24 volts, and we have 20 volts, 45 watts. Now, we can also use a 28 volt supply to get 90 watts of power, but it says we need to use PD 3.1 28 volt power supply, and I don't actually have one. So, unfortunately, I can't test that. I'm guessing this is something fairly new because I've not particularly seen these before. So we will have to test it using this setting at 20 volts. I actually just chatted with Jet, who's going to try Versus Pinecil. I now have it here. He also doesn't have a power supply this rating either. In fact, he was the same as me. Oh, they have those, do they? Okay. Any of you guys have one? Comments below. The soldering iron has 3 presets. You just select them using the A button, 300, 330, 350. You can change those presets. You can set the temperature manually. And it basically seems fairly simple to operate. So this button, the one that you could accidentally touch, in actual fact switches the soldering iron on, or it goes into the boost mode. So if you touch A, that brings you out of standby, but it also do that when you move it. And if you long press that, in fact hold the button in, it will go into boost mode. We can have a play with that. It will stay in boost mode until you let go of it again. So when I mentioned that you could possibly accidentally hit this button during operation, it's not going to affect it. The worst it can do is put it into boost mode if you hold it in. In fact, you can see that mentioned here, guys. Heating operation, as I was just describing, button A. Button B takes it into standby mode or takes you into the menus. Another thing interesting is this. So you can attach the soldering iron to your computer. It appears like a virtual drive with files on, and then there's a config.txt, and you can modify the settings, I assume with Notepad or something. I haven't tried it yet. Okay, you save that back, and that's perhaps a very easy way to set your soldering iron to how you want it rather than fiddling around in the menus. Okay, so as I normally do, I think I will actually just try to use this intuitively and see how easy it is to use. Let's power it up. To do this, I will use the supplied USB lead. This was in the bottom of the box. Just get it out. Yep, there we are. This feels like silicone. Yeah, definitely feels like silicone compared to this one. Feels like PVC or something. Yeah, it's very soft, flexible. Let's see. It's not so long, this, really. In fact, let's see how long is this. So from the USB-C to the other end, it's 1 meter. Okay, it's 1 meter long. That is probably quite long enough to work comfortably. We will see. Okay, let's go. Yep, powered up. Version. Heating. Okay, so if we press A, yeah, that switches on, and we can see it heating up quite nicely. The stated heating time is 15 seconds. That didn't really feel like 15 seconds, but no doubt you'll be able to see on the video from the timestamps. That is on 300. Quick touch, yeah, 330. 350. I'll go to 350 because that's what I would normally use. Let's have a look at this boost as well. So hold it in. Oh yeah, so it boosts up to about 380. Let go. Back down. That's quite nice because that's easy to do. That feels natural. Your finger is in the right place to hit the boost. Yeah, that I definitely like. Well thought out. And working nicely. I'm not used to working with this sort of tip, but let's just unsolder a few components and see how this feels in general use. I'll work on a scrap motherboard because these are quite difficult to work on. First of all, let's try to unsolder a few capacitors. Okay. This will do. Yeah, that's certainly tinned nicely. Let's try. So I'm going to do this by effectively waggling the capacitor around a little bit. Yeah, that's out, guys. That came out nice and cleanly. Not ripped any wires out of the board or anything like that. That actually worked very well. Again, just had some leaded solder. We'll try this one. Yep, no problem at all again. I'll try some SMD capacitors. Okay, we have a nice bunch of them here. To do this, I would normally add flux first, so let's do that. In fact, we have 3 different size capacitors here. That's nice and handy to try. Okay. I'll test whether we can just remove this just by heating from one end first. This will depend a lot on how many ground planes there are in here, how much heat the board is absorbing. That isn't coming off. Okay, I hit the boost, hold the button in. It's now on boost. Yeah, and that has done it actually. That's pretty much got that. There we go. Yeah. Okay, that there. There's a small one here, so let's try this one. I'll use the other technique of actually coming in from the side, hitting both ends at once. Yeah, we've got it. It's done the usual thing, which is to stick to the soldering iron and everything else. You can tell, guys, I'm actually working from the screen and not from the optical microscope where I have stereo vision. Okay, so this is partly down to my technique working this way. Right, this is a large one. Let's see what it can do with this. Again, I'll hit the boost button. Try this way. I'm going to add a little bit more solder to this one. Okay, let's do it again. Yep, I have it. Just have to come back in on boost. Yeah, there we go. So that's working quite well. As I mentioned, I don't normally use this type of tip. I will try it with one of the other tips afterwards, which I know Detlef has. They work in the soldering iron. But what we'll do is now, I'll shout my friend Det over and let him try the same thing with his Pinecil in the same area with 3 of the same size components. And let's see if there's any difference in performance between these 2 soldering irons. As I mentioned, guys, I do have Detlef with me today.
Hi guys.
He brought his Pinecil with him. He's going to show you that soldering iron as well, and then we'll make a comparison between the 2. I'll do that by getting Det to do the same jobs that I just did with the TS101. So Det, tell us about the Pinecil.
This is a V1 Pinecil. This is not the version 2. I think you currently can only get the version 2 because they stopped producing the version 1. I bought mine pretty early and I bought it with a bunch of tips. Yeah, I should probably tell how I use this. This is not my main soldering iron, and I'm very embarrassed to tell you my main soldering iron is a 30-year-old 30-watt Erza something. No regulation, just heat. And it works, and I'm fine with that. I'll use this as a field kit. I have this in this charmingly little box here, together with some things, some flux, my beloved tweezers, of course. And this is my normal kit when I go out. I have a big PD power bank in here, and I'm set for this. So when I go out, you have a working soldering iron, and everything's there. What can I tell you about the Pinecil? It works. It simply works. I normally go for one of the bigger tips here. I'll go for either this one or this one. So I'm with Richard here. Go for a bigger tip. All these things. Okay, I never used this, I think, and I can't do the conical ones. The bladed ones, not for me. So I'm with these, and today I'm trying to go for this one. So slot it in, and then there are 2 screws on the Pinecil. You can lose those, yeah, easily. So not the best construction thing. Okay, let's switch this.
Try keeping the shot.
on. I try to keep this in the shot, and it's set for left-handed people because there are left-handed people in the room. And it's, you can see it's drawing 45 watts right now from the same power supply Richard used. And yeah, it's going up to 350.
I think that's warmed up a bit faster than the one I just
did
used.
it?
I think, yeah, maybe.
Well, the people probably have clocked this out right now. Yeah, I use normally 350 degrees, so this is my normal temperature here. And yeah, you saw this was pretty fast, and you have this nice display that tells you how many. This is running right now at 20 volts.
Okay.
Can I zoom in for that? I can
There
zoom
is.
in, yeah. This is currently running at 20 volts, so PD has negotiated 20 volts there, and you can see the wattage there. You can see the temperature there, and then I don't know what 5M means right now, but maybe 5 megabytes. Who knows? I don't know. Let's go into soldering.
Okay.
You know, people, when it comes to soldering, I think menus should be easy because I want to solder. I don't want to fiddle around in the thing, and the only thing that's really important is get me energy right to the tip and do this fast. This is the thing for me. So. Okay. Let's try this. Okay, what do we want to get me?
Well, let's do the same thing that I did. So if you can just get one of the electrolytic capacitors out, just choose one. And then in this area, just find a small, a medium and a large capacitor, do the 3.
Okay.
And hopefully that'll be a comparative test because you're in the same area, so you would think the ground planes are very similar to what I
ground
was
planes would be the
facing.
same. So let me zoom in a bit more, and let me get here, and I need one of my beloved things.
Okay, and you need solder and flux.
There was something, yeah, you're right.
Okay. Flux is not overrated.
No, not in this case. Not in this case, you're right. So let me see. I'm not used to doing this way, but we'll get around. So let's get a bit of flux over there. I should talk while I do this, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I see. There are bigger ones. Let's see.
Yeah, some big ones and some medium size.
This is a medium size. So I'll smear it all the whole area now with flux. So let's try to get this dry.
Do you want to add any fresh solder, or?
Let me see if I can get these off without any fresh solder.
Okay.
And it's not coming off. It's not coming off. It doesn't like this. Let's go for some solder there. And this is why you want to use these big tips, because you have this nice heat transfer here.
Yeah, this is what I find, and you guys know that I have been championing, I can never even say that word, the chunky tip.
Yeah, absolutely.
A few people have had a bit of a revelation with that. Okay, so I was having a bit of trouble heating these as well.
It's getting there. It's getting there.
Yeah.
You see this there?
Yeah.
This is still hot. This is still hard. Oh, come on.
Does this soldering iron have a boost? I used boost on the TS101.
I think there's a boost. Let me see if I can hold down.
Oh yeah, same thing.
Yeah. That's kicking in.
Yeah.
And no. Come on.
Really?
It's fighting me. I'm stuck there.
That surprised me a little bit. I
can see that the solder has melted. But this won't budge. I won't budge.
I tell you what, as a fair comparison, Det, why not try that same capacitor with the little TS101?
Yeah, let's do this.
And we'll use the tip I used initially, and let's have a look to see whether that will do it. Or maybe we just picked a very difficult capacitor.
Miniware.
Just give it a few seconds, you touch button A to switch it on.
A.
There you go.
Oh, this uses only 20 watts? No. 20 volts. Okay, it's telling me 20 volts.
Okay.
Strange font.
Maybe if you show the other people.
Oh.
So that's on 300. If you hit button A once again, try just press on button A once, and that'll go to 330. Once again, we'll go to 350.
Can I go to 350?
Yes.
There was work temperature.
Yeah, that sets the temperature.
Okay, yeah.
You can do it that way, or you can just use the presets I was using. I think to get out of the menu, you hold button B down.
Oh, you simply wait for.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the same setting I used in the with the Pinecil now. So, oh, this is a totally different tip.
Yeah, this is the one I just use. Is not my favorite type of tip.
Same problem here. I see you saw the heat transfer there.
Yeah.
But I'm not. Oh, there.
You did get it. Okay, you.
That felt very rough.
It did, but it came off. It stuck to the tip.
Yeah.
If you can find it.
Felt very rough. There it is. There it is.
Oh, there we go. Okay. So that's interesting that actually desoldered the same capacity, where the Pinecil failed to do. So I'm a bit surprised by that.
All right. Okay, let's try one of the little ones. I'll try to do this without additional solder because it doesn't feel like you need additional solder there. Come on. You hear the squeaky noises?
Yeah.
But I usually... No.
Nope.
I'm trying not to lift the pads here.
Yeah. Of course. Of course. That's kind of like part of the the thing to do.
And people, if you think why he's staring at the right side of the screen, this is where we have a big 24 inch screen.
Magnify.
Yeah. With a...
can I just say you've switched the soldering iron off somehow?
How did I do that?
I don't know.
I'm very talented with stuff like that. Okay, the USB wasn't in there.
Wasn't in properly.
Yeah. Okay, now I have to press A again.
A again. Just switches on.
Oh, sorry for the...
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, left-handed people.
A again.
A again? Why?
Because it goes to the next preset.
Oh, come on.
And A again for the next preset, 350. So if you repeatedly press A, it switches between the presets.
Okay.
Now let's see what you do.
Oh yeah, look at this. There's some solder flow.
Yeah.
Nice. Let's see, this should be easy. Oh yeah, this is easy. This went easy. Now I'm using the wrong soldering iron. Because this is Richard's ones. Let me try this with a Pinecil.
Okay.
With Mr. Pinecil.
Well, I mean, in fairness, it's a good comparison. That was the why I invited you.
We're heating up here. Let's see.
Okay.
350. Going back to the little capacitors. This is the little caps over here. Let's see how this feels. Alright, I made a mess there. But for now this should work. Super easy then. Yeah. Okay, this came off pretty easy.
Okay.
Yeah. Where did I left it? It's gone forever. Gone with the wind.
Okay.
Alright, one of those. I'll try one of those. This is still the Pinecil now.
Yeah.
Put in some solder. This shouldn't be so hard either. Okay, heat flows there. Come on, come on. Oh yeah, this was easy.
Okay.
This went way easier.
Okay. To get a more comparative test there, I'll try using your Pinecil with this tip, and then I'll put this tip into the TS101 and see if I can feel any difference between the two. I mean, would you say this one worked any better than this one from what you were doing? I mean, it seems to be a little bit easier for you, but it's hard to be subjective in a way.
Yeah, this you have to use this for a day, I think. Or when you have a bigger project and you will do loads of soldering, then it would be a fair comparison. I'd say they don't make a difference. If you have a Pinecil, for me there's no need to buy another soldering iron in this class.
Okay.
I like the simplicity of the Pinecil OS because I don't have to go through some presets. Blah blah blah. It simply switches on, and this is what I want.
And does the job.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll try with your soldering iron, Det.
Let's do this.
I'll try with the tip that Det was using. So I'll go for one of these medium-sized ones. See if this is anything to do with technique. I've got quite a lot of solder on that. Okay. I'll add some flux. Plenty of it. It's not overrated, guys. And let's see. I find these type of tweezers personally easier to use. Yeah, and there it comes, and we have it.
Yeah.
Okay. we have it.
How did this feel?
That felt pretty good to me, actually. I felt pretty good. Let's try this tip in the TS101. Okay, so I fitted the tip that we were using on the Pinecil. We'll just power this up. Again, you can see, so switch on, one press. Maybe there isn't any much difference in the heating time. You wouldn't think there would be, guys, because it's the same tip, same power supply. Yeah. Okay, 350. Right, let's see what we can do. I'll go for this one here. Just getting melted nice. Actually use the back of the tip because I'm right-handed and it's just the angle I'm coming at with that. Let's see if we can do this. So again, I'll try heating from one end, flick to the other end. You can see I've probably got a bit too much solder there, guys. I'll add some flux actually. That will stop that mess I have there, yeah? Let's do it. There is plenty on there, okay? We'll try coming in from the side.
Yeah. Heat transfer is there.
Yeah, heat transfer there. I'm just struggling to get both ends hot at the same time. Yeah. Okay. In my opinion, and Det's opinion, this is to do with the tip more than the soldering iron, but I'll hit the boost. So I'm just going to press and hold this button, and you'll see straight away, temperature goes up. Now let's see what it does. Interesting. I'm actually struggling more with this tip than I was with the conical one, and that surprises me a little bit, but you guys saw the video earlier. Okay, let's switch to the large tip. So this is the one very much like a BC3. This is the sort of thing I would normally use. You guys see my videos on the T12. Let's try this one. So I now have a much larger tip. I'm just thinking, because this button is on the top, so I would normally hold my hand like this to press the boost button. I'll probably be better if I rotate the tip the other way around, yeah?
Yeah.
Let's experiment with that. So we'll just loosen the screw a little bit. So I would normally hold at this angle, so I want the tip facing that way. Then I can easily press the button while I'm working if I want the boost. Okay, let's try that. Okay, this is taking a little while longer to heat up. I wonder if there's a higher thermal mass of it, obviously.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah, the heavier the tip, a little bit longer to warm it up. Okay. Now let's see what we can do with this. Okay. I'll put it there, guys, so you can see it clearly. Okay. Now let's see if we can unsolder it. I'll hit the boost button. Yes.
There you go.
There we go. Of course, the little one which I was resting on is probably now on the side of the soldering iron tip. But this was, right, it's there, like, yeah?
Yeah.
We have that as well. So guys, if that proves anything, it proves that the tip makes all the difference. So performance wise, there isn't really a lot between these two. They're very similar. The tip has more effect than anything else. I was very surprised how well that conical tip worked, actually. That did surprise me. Comfort wise, this is a bit chunkier. I actually find this one feels more comfortable in my hand, and I also very much like the positioning of this button for the boost at the front of it. Whereas this one, to use the boost, I guess you have to hold it back here, and then you're increasing the working distance quite a bit. But Det, what do you think? Det has rather larger hands than me. If we just make a comparison between the two of us, okay?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm more the big boy built German, yeah.
But they're smoother than mine.
from the look and feel, this is way more nice, because this does not come over on video. I think the Pinecil is pure plastic. This thing is just plastic, and this feels like metal, some metal, and has a little bit of weight in there. So this is nice. If I would go for simply aesthetics, I'd go for the Miniware tool. If we go for functionality, I'm with Richard here, because the tip makes all the difference. This is all that counts in here.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
It doesn't matter what hardware you use. If you have one of those fancy schmancy PD 3.1 supplies and you could go for 80 watts, well, this is a feature.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, I think probably for the workshop we'll get one of those, because it's probably something that's going to become more used in future.
Yeah.
I think it must be quite new. I'd not heard of that.
No, same here. And with all the drone stuff, normally I have my ears on what's developments going on there, because we want to charge our batteries fast. And,
exactly.
This is the first time I hear of this.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think that's the conclusion, guys. And we have different size hands, but we both agree. Performance-wise, there isn't really anything between them. This is definitely more comfortable to hold than this one. And the placement of that button makes a difference. I think if you were using this a lot for a long time, you're going to find this much more comfortable. At the end of the day, you'll be basically won't have your fingers cramped up because of the way it's been made, yeah. But if you're a kind of like a general user and maybe you don't use the boost very much, then it probably doesn't make that much difference to you. Unfortunately, it's one of those things that you either have to take our word for it, or you have to try them both for yourself. Yeah.
That's the point there, yeah.
I will just mention this one is considerably cheaper than this one. There is a big difference in price, so you are paying maybe up to twice as much for this one. So it comes down to how you feel about it, how you want to spend your money. But from my point of view, actually, if I was using a lot, I would buy this one, just because I need a soldering iron that I can use all day and it's comfortable for me. I mentioned this has a config file on where we can set all the settings, which I thought probably would be easier than using all the menus. So let's attach this to the PC, like so. And there you see it's found it, okay. It said there was a problem with it, but it's found it, and then we have the config file. I imagine we can just open this with something like Notepad. Yeah. And there we have it. So we can see all the settings in here. I'll try changing one of the settings and then let's see what happens. So, for example, the temperatures we had were 330, 300, 350. So let's change 350 to 360. Okay, and we'll change boost to 390. Done. Save the file. So yeah, that features a big thumbs up from me actually. I think that's probably the easiest way to do this, although you can change the settings in field, but if you want to customize the settings on the soldering iron, you're probably going to do that once. Just do it that way. Yeah, I really like that. To sum up then, I do like this soldering iron. I particularly mentioned, and Det also found the same thing, the very well designed handle, very ergonomic, especially the boost button being just where you want it to be. I mentioned about this screw getting hot. I mean, it is physically attached to the tip, but that never happened. I mean, there was never an instance when either of us came into contact with that, so I don't think that actually is a problem as such. If you're holding this here, as you should do, it fits very well in the hand. Performance wise, well, both this and the Pinecil use the same tip, so they're going to have very similar performance. Where this may well stand out is the option to run it on the 28 volt supply, but we don't have one. I will get one of those. We need one for the workshop. I think it's going to be something we need. And then we can take another look at this and see how well it performs at 28 volts. I mean, it says it can do 90 watts, and that is a powerful little soldering iron without a doubt. I had a look online on AliExpress. The price of these with a single tip around 62 euros. The Pinecil 47, so this is that bit cheaper. It's not half the price, but it is definitely cheaper. You know our thoughts on it. I won't say it again, but it comes down to what you want to use. I like the way this feels. If I'm going to have one, yes, I would have this one, just because once used it, I wouldn't really want to use the other one. I think it's more uncomfortable and a bit of fiddly to work the buttons, basically. So, you know, guys, I give an honest opinion, and that is my honest opinion. I'd like to thank Miniware for sending me this so I could review it and test it. And I would also like to thank Detlef for bringing along his Pinecil so we can make a good comparison between the two, because that is probably the only way to test this in a meaningful way. I hope you enjoyed that, and I look forward to seeing you all soon on another Learning Electronics Repair video. Ciao for now, guys.